Thank you so much for joining us for CBN Newswatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, the Republican-controlled House passed a ban on transgender athletes who were born as males to compete in girls' and women's sports. We've got details plus. We sit down with Kenya's second lady, who's on a mission to save young men who are addicted to drugs and alcohol.
Anytime Satan wanted to destroy a nation, he went for the boy child. We may not look at it and see it as a satanic move, but it is. And they get themselves now frustrated because they do not have housing, they do not have money, they are not in employment, in any sort of employment.
Then later, a Broadway-style musical based on the life of Jesus, making its premiere later this spring.
Thought in the sky is subject to me, respecting me, the waves display.
Willie and Corey Robertson talk with us about the event and how it's targeting a younger generation. All these stories and more coming up next from the CBN Newsroom.
This is CBN Newswatch.
We begin this half hour with the Republican-controlled House passing legislation banning transgender athletes who were born as males from competing in girls' and women's sports. But it now heads to a difficult future in the Democrat-controlled Senate. CBN's Jenna Browder has our top story from Washington.
It's an issue that has many Americans talking. Should transgender athletes be allowed to compete in women's and girls' sports? House Republicans say no.
The yeas are 219, the nays are 203. The bill is passed.
House members voting along party lines Thursday to pass the Protection of Women and Girls in Sports Act. The measure would amend Title IX to recognize a person's sex as the one given at birth. It would also threaten funding to any federally funded school or college that allows transgender athletes to compete on a women's or girls' team. Republicans say it's about fairness and protecting women and girls from unfair competition with biological males.
They strive for excellence, and they achieved it. And they learned the value of teamwork and hard work. But because they were forced to compete against biological men, they lost out on opportunities that they deserved.
But Democrats say it ostracizes an already vulnerable group for political gain.
This is about being there for all of America's children, including transgender children who just want to be able to live and to belong and to make friends. That's something that all Americans, I believe, all decent, kind-hearted Americans fundamentally support.
It all comes as at least 20 states have imposed similar bans on trans athletes at the kindergarten through high school or collegiate levels. And polling shows most Americans agree. The Washington Post and University of Maryland finding last year, 55% of Americans oppose allowing transgender athletes to compete in women's high school sports, and 58% oppose it at the collegiate and professional levels. And now even some sports personalities are speaking out against trans athletes on female teams. Samantha Ponder of ESPN tweeting, "This would take away so many opportunities for biological women and girls in sports. It is a shame that we are needing to fight for the integrity of Title IX in 2023 and the reason it was needed in the first place." And ESPN's Sage Steele, "This is heartbreaking, maddening, and really difficult to watch. I keep thinking I'm going to wake up and be relieved that this was just a ridiculous, comical, nonsensical dream." The bill is not expected to pass the Democrat-controlled Senate, but this is an issue that's not going away and one that has many people across the country concerned. In Washington, Jenna Browder, CBN News.
Now for an update into that deadly shooting at a Sweet 16 birthday party that happened Saturday. Police announced the arrest of a sixth person, a 15-year-old. Officers believe 5 of those charged in the case were present at the party and discharged firearms into the crowd. Of course, that resulted in the deaths of 4 young people ranging in age from 17 to 23 years old. All 6 of the suspects now face reckless murder charges. An amazing revelation in Israel this week that Iran could potentially see a radical change in government. During a stop in Tel Aviv, the son of the former Shah of Iran told journalists it wouldn't take foreign armies to overthrow the regime, just international support from key nations. Julie Stahl has more in this story.
I have often argued that the threat is not the gun, but the finger on the trigger.
This idea comes as Iran inches closer to a nuclear weapon, Israel considers a possible military strike, and the international community looks to negotiate its way out of the threat. Exiled Iranian Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi calls that last part foolish thinking.
I have never believed that any type of negotiation with this regime that cannot be trusted could be a guarantee, or if you will, the safety mechanism on the gun. It has been, in my view, a waste of time. It's going to be letting the Iranian people liberate themselves from this regime.
Pahlavi outlines what he thinks it would take for Iranians to rise up against the mullahs and how other nations could figure into regime change.
Help the Iranian people with technology, help them with internet, help them with funding a strike fund to help our workers to at the right time go on strike. This is the quickest way and the least costly way to achieve that result. And by doing so, not only you have helped a country free itself from its oppressors, but you have also eliminated any element of threat associated with this regime.
Israeli Intelligence Minister Gila Gamliel, who invited Pahlavi to visit, says Israel has high expectations about what this connection could mean for the people of Iran.
We are already building the aid infrastructure. We are going to meet at the water desalination plant. He's going to meet with top specialists on the subjects of solutions for the drought crisis that's very difficult and complicated and endangering the water in the area.
She adds, rather than being Iran's enemy, Israel could become an ally.
We are going to make available technological knowledge of the state of Israel to show the continuing potential, to show the immediate realization. That is, it's the vision of the Crown Prince to show another Iran that can give the answer to their population in the best way.
Pahlavi points to the Abraham Accords and its impact on relations between Israel and regional Muslim states.
Hopefully, we'll be able to elevate the Abraham Accord to the Cyrus Accord, which will include Iran in the package once we are liberated.
Pahlavi's historic trip here began at Yad Vashem, honoring the memory of the 6 million Jews during the Holocaust Remembrance Day ceremony. He then prayed at the Western Wall, met with Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and visited Rabbi Leo D., whose wife and 2 daughters died in a recent terror attack. Pahlavi says the Iranian people have a belief that's opposite of the country's hostile regime.
They are thrilled by the fact that I have had an opportunity, not just as of myself, but on their behalf, to spread the message of how, contrary to this regime, they have no antagonism to any nation or any faith, but quite the contrary.
He says their vision of strategic and powerful relations dates back to biblical times.
When I was at the Wailing Wall, the remnants of what Cyrus the Great contributed in rebuilding the temples is still there for all to see. It's a testimony of how valuable and how durable this relationship should be.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Tel Aviv, Israel.
And be sure to get more from the Middle East Bureau on Jerusalem Dateline. You can find it on the CBN News Channel. It begins at 8:30 Eastern. You can also find it on YouTube or the CBN News app. Coming up, tens of thousands of boys in Kenya are living in the streets addicted to drugs and alcohol. Meet the lady with a dream to rescue them all. We'll go right back. A generation of boys in Kenya are at risk. The vast majority live on the streets addicted to drugs and alcohol. Kenya's second lady has made it her mission to rescue these young men and to train them to become leaders of the country. Wendy Griffith brings us the story.
When most people think of Kenya, they picture spotting the Big Five on safari or the wildebeest migration at Masai Mara, considered one of the 7 wonders of the world. For those who live there, it's a different story. That includes the country's second lady, Pastor Dorcas Ragathi. Her main goal, trying to rescue the thousands of young boys who have left the rural areas to find work in the cities, but end up on the streets.
Why are you focused on the boy child, as you say?
Currently, we have a crisis in Kenya where young men are in the streets taking drugs, taking alcohol, and they are dying in numbers. Millions have died in the last many years.
Ragathi says although Kenya is 85% Christian, and she, her husband, as well as the first couple are all believers, Satan is trying his best to infiltrate Kenya.
Anytime Satan wanted to destroy a nation, he went for the boy child. We may not look at it and see it as a satanic move, but it is. There is no way we can have the seed carrier in the gutter. And on the other side, we have women who are well-resourced, well-educated, and we have a boy who is directionless and is dying out in the streets.
Why are they in the streets?
They are from single parenthood, and they are coming so that they can be able to make a living for their own mothers.
But when these young men come to the cities like Nairobi, getting a job is not guaranteed.
And they get themselves now frustrated because they do not have housing, they do not have money, they are not in employment, in any sort of employment. And because they're not able to get money or they don't have access to food and all that, they start taking glue. Some of them now are hard drug addicts. And many of them are dying from HIV and AIDS because of the syringes.
And when the boys are at their most vulnerable, Reganthi says they are often used as drug runners and vendors.
That is the reason I feel as a mother, we need to rescue the boy child from this menace of this drug balance and also to move them from the streets.
Reganthi's dream is the creation of a multifaceted program that would provide these boys a medical rehab facility with Christian counseling, a vocational training center to teach different skills, and a sports academy.
So that those who want to do sports, they can get engaged there to redirect their energies to something that is more fruitful.
And this is precisely why Her Excellency is in the United States, seeking financial support so she can help the young boys of Kenya, starting with the sports academy.
We know God has called us to be able to reach out to those boys. And when I look at them, I see the future church.
Reganthi knows there's a fierce spiritual battle for their country's future. She also believes the same God who saved her and her young siblings from once living in an outdoor chicken pen can rescue Kenya's young men.
So that is why you see, I can feel the heartbeat of the street children, because I've been there. I know how to be without food. I know how to be without clothes. And it was so cold that one of my sisters died of pneumonia. My mother prayed for us. My mother spoke words of power, authority over us. So she told us, don't worry. When your father is not there and you are children of the widow, your Father in heaven will see you through.
Pastor Dorcas Reganthi believes she is in the palace for such a time as this, to rescue Kenya's boys from the streets, to love them, and to teach them that with God, there are no limits. He can take them from the pit to the palace, and she has her own story to prove it. Wendy Griffith, CBN News.
Still ahead, the story of Jesus' life in a new contemporary musical. We're going to have more on the event coming up next. And welcome back to CBN Newswatch. His Story, the Musical, is an upcoming theatrical event premiering in Dallas this spring. It's a Broadway-style musical with a story of love and redemption based on the life of Jesus, who performs miracles, gives wisdom, and connects people from all walks of life. Willie and Corey Robertson from the hit reality show Duck Dynasty are the producers of the musical, and they join us now with more. Willie and Corey, so good to see you. Tell us, what can we expect from this musical event?
Well, I just want to start out and say that you may not think of Broadway-style musicals and myself, but it's about Jesus. That is the connection that brought us a part of it. And Corey and I were able to watch it last year, and we're just blown away and said, we want to be involved in this for sure.
So believe it or not, when Willie got the first song, he was sent one of the songs on a video through a text, and he came to me. He watched it first and came to me with like tears brimming in his eyes. And I was like, what just happened? He's like, I just saw this song from a musical and like, it's incredible. And we were just kind of sold and all in from song one. We watched the whole thing, and it's just full of like scripture and God's word. And it was written by this 17-year-old girl, which is a whole other miraculous story.
Wow.
But yeah, we loved it from the moment we saw it, and we just were like, how can we be a part of it?
What was it that made you say, okay, I want to be a part of this. Let us help you get this story told?
Well, yeah, this was not some sort of celebrity endorsement. This was not that at all. Really, it was just sent to me and just said, what do you think? You know, and I was actually writing a book at the time, and which will be coming soon, about sharing your faith. And I was writing the book, and I got this text, and it was like I heard this voice saying, there's so many other ways of sharing the gospel, and especially to this young generation and in different ways. And so that's what really, really hit my heart. And I was like, wow, this is something different. It's not in a church building. It's young, it's hip, and but it's just saturating the gospel. And Corey and I have, our kids are all in their 20s, and so we're really concerned about, how do we continue to get that message out, especially when church attendance is down, and this generation is struggling. We've come out of a hard time, and so we felt like people are hungry, people are searching for something of meaning, and we think they're searching for the Lord, and this is just another way to get that out.
Could this be him? Could this be true? Oh, Son of God. Son of God. Now the rumors are true. I think this is you. Just gonna be honest, I'm really sure this is the Messiah.
Tell me about the cast and putting this all together. Who are we seeing on stage?
So this has been a fun process because we did come on as producers. We've gotten to be involved in every part of the process. And so I went to Dallas and for a casting call, and it was so fun to see just this line of young people, just ready to share their gifts and talents with us. And I kind of felt like I was on American Idol. I got to sit on the table, and we watched, just person after person come in and sing their song and do their thing. And it was really, really special to see. It's been fun because a lot of them who came have found out about it through, my Instagram, because I posted like open casting call. So some of them did that. A lot of them, several of the cast said they listened to Sadie's podcast or have found us at Passion or different things that we've been involved in. But yeah, it's a unique cast. They're incredibly talented. It's just young people from all over the country, really. And some of them are their local Dallas locals. And that's been fun to kind of see it come together.
Corey, tell us when tickets will be available, where they can see it. How do people go about connecting to His Story, the musical?
All right, so tickets are on sale now, and you can get them at hisstorythemusical.com. And it's fun because there's an interview with Anna, the writer, on that website and everything too, so you can learn more about the musical there. And as Willie mentioned, it's in the Colony, Texas, right outside of Dallas. It's as you fly in, if you land in Dallas, you drive right past this tent, and you cannot miss it there on the right with the Ferris wheel. It's just incredible. And like you said, the area there is just beautiful. There's tons to do. So
starts in May.
Make a trip. Yeah. May 18th is premiere night. We have a few previews 2 weeks before that. Mm-hmm. So if you want to be like the first to see it, you can.
We'll be there a lot. And yes. We've got a lot of friends and people you may have seen will be coming. Everybody's excited to come. And we felt like, after Asbury and these things that are cropping up in America, and there's a hunger, Jesus Revolution, people are wanting something and wanting to be somewhere. And so, so we're tickled to death to be a part of this and invite people in to say, hey, come and let's, share this together, and then let's go talk and continue being bright lights.
Falling in love with Jesus is the best thing you'll ever do. I can promise you guys watching that. Willie and Corey, thank you so much. Look forward to seeing you in person.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
On October 1st, 1961, history was made when a tiny station began transmitting the first signals of the Christian Broadcasting Network.
CBN, the Christian Broadcasting Network.
And now, a new era has begun with the all-new CBN News Channel.
Just moments ago, the Iron Dome intercepted an incoming rocket right on the Gaza border.
Administering in this area, spiritual warfare is definitely involved.
A 24/7 news network, bringing you the news you want from a source you can trust.
In Kenya, 40% of the medical services are actually provided by these Christian hospitals.
Let's talk about the economy.
Believers here are joining together to win people to Jesus Christ.
All your favorite shows now in one place, all day, every day. The CBN News Channel. Download the app or visit cbnnewschannel.com. CBN News.
Welcome back to CBN Newswatch. Practice makes perfect, and space exploration is, well, no exception. Thursday, SpaceX launched the first flight test of Starship, the largest rocket ever developed, going almost according to plan. That's almost, as if the flight wasn't exciting enough. Starship self-destructed minutes after launching in what SpaceX called a rapid unscheduled disassembly. The rocket carried no people or satellites, attempting a round-the-world trip from Texas. Elon Musk SpaceX says success comes from what we learn, and today's test will help them to prepare for the next test in just a few months. Well, time now for your Friday Faithful, and I want to leave you with this thought as we wrap another week together. Keep believing, keep pushing, keep trying. Your problems and your pain may be big, but guess what? Your God is so much bigger. He's bigger than all of your questions. He's bigger than all of your fears. God is bigger than any mountain you can or cannot see. With that, make this a fabulous Friday and have yourself a wonderful weekend as well. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN Newswatch. I want to remind you, you can always find more of our programs on the CBN News Channel. You can find them there at any time, as well as online. The website is cbnnews.com. Let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today or any day. You can email us. The address is newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We certainly would love to hear from you. We look forward to seeing you right back here, same time Monday. Goodbye, everybody. God bless.